On behalf of Pakistan Stroke Society, I welcome you all in 10th National Stroke Conference. Today is World Stroke Day, and the purpose of organizing this National Stroke Conference on World Stroke Day is to highlight the importance of optimizing stroke care in country on national level. So today is first day, and we are starting our conference with the conference workshop. This will be very informative, very interesting for all the young neurologists, our residents, and the other physicians as well. We will have number of very informative and interesting talk in next 2 days as well. So today's today presentation is about secondary stroke prophylaxis and also about the post-thrombolysis care. And secondary stroke prophylaxis, it is a very vast topic. So I want to cover some important aspect of secondary stroke prophylaxis. It is impossible to cover the whole topic in 20 minutes. So post-thrombolysis care, when we talk about thrombolysis and post-thrombolysis care, the most important thing is the neuro assessment after thrombolysis. That is check NIHSS scoring, that if it is increasing, it means there may be some hemorrhagic conversion or patient is deteriorating. Similarly, the most important thing which has to be checked after thrombolysis is the monitoring blood pressure. That systolic blood pressure should be less than 180 and diastolic should be kept less than 105. And we can use IV antihypertensive medications like IV labetalol or hydralazine. If you see that if there is heartbeat is less than 50 beats per minute, then you can use IV hydralazine as well. At the same time, post-thrombolysis, you have to check for the sign of आप लोगों को मेरी आवाज आ रही है ना? यहाँ पे कनेक्शन अनस्टेबल हो रहा है। जी बिल्कुल आ रही है। Then monitor the sign of systemic bleeding as well. No arterial puncture should be done for next 24 hours. No intramuscular injection or invasive procedure should be performed for the next 24 hours. Monitor for the facial, tongue and pharyngeal angioedema. And monitor oxygen saturation as well, because it may identify hypoxemia or early complication of stroke like aspiration pneumonia or angioedema. Cardiac monitoring should be performed for at least 24 hours. IV fluid should be given, ensure hydration, keep patient NPO if there is no NG tube until the stages screening is done, and all thrombotics should be delayed for about 24 hours. So after that, we have to think about the cause of stroke and the prevention of the stroke recurrence. And you know that the risk of stroke within 90 days of the first stroke is always 5%, that it vary greatly from more than 10 to less than 10%. So when we talk about secondary prophylaxis and the prevention of the stroke recurrence, important is to manage risk factors, and the management by etiology should be considered. The most important, the risk factor in our society and overall is hypertension. Normally it is said, I'm talking about secondary prophylaxis. This is not about acute management of hypertension during thrombolysis. So if patient was not on antihypertensive medication before stroke, then antihypertensive medication as a secondary prophylaxis should be started only if there is established BP of more than 140/90 after several days of stroke. And if a patient with acute stroke was previously on antihypertensive medication, then it is better to continue antihypertensive medication. जो pre-treatment baseline control है BP का, it should be individualized, but it is unable to maintain blood pressure of less than 140 to 90 mm of mercury. But if patient has diabetes, chronic kidney disease, or lacunar stroke, then the blood pressure target is less than 130/80 mm of mercury. Now the next question is, which antihypertensive should be used for this? For that purpose, obviously, this choice should be individualized. Non-compliance with medication should be considered. खासतौर पे जब हम मेडिसिन से स्टार्ट कराते हैं, हमारे पास क्योंकि आपको पता है अफोर्डेबिलिटी के भी इश्यूज हैं, तो उसमें पेशेंट नॉन कंप्लाइंट बहुत ज्यादा होता है. And we have seen lot of stroke recurrence because of just non-compliance of medication. लेकिन आप अगर आइडियल सिचुएशन में देखिए, आप ARB से स्टार्ट कराएंगे, आप किसी इनहिबिटर से स्टार्ट कराएंगे, कॉम्बिनेशन स्टार्ट करा सकते हैं व्हेन देयर इज मोर देन 160/90 mm of mercury. बीटा ब्लॉकर्स का बहुत कंपेलिंग एविडेंस नहीं है, बट इफ देयर इज concomitant coronary arterial disease, then you can use beta blocker as well. The second most important thing is treating diabetes. This is not a stress of hyperglycemia. This is diagnosed case of diabetes. The target of hemoglobin A1C should be less than 7%. And we have to counsel patient about diet, oral hypoglycemic medications, and sometimes insulin can be used for treating diabetes. लेकिन सिर्फ एक मेडिसिन है anti-diabetic which is associated with reduction in stroke recurrence, and that is pioglitazone. So this medicine not only treats diabetes but also prevent the recurrence of stroke. Similarly, dyslipidemia. Dyslipidemia is also a very important cause of stroke. Normally we see that we use a statin just after the acute stroke, because we know that statin not only it is a dyslipidemic medication, but it also stabilizes plaque, and it has antithrombotic property as well. But we have to keep LDL less than 70. So intensive lipid lowering medication should be started. That is atorvastatin 40 to 80 milligram of per milligram, rosuvastatin 20 milligram. We can add ezetimibe in it. और the important thing is कि sometime इतनी ज़्यादा high अगर dose दी जाए statins की, तो patient tolerate नहीं कर सकता, बहुत से side effects appear हो जाते हैं, तो then you can initiate moderate intensity statin therapy. इसमें फिर atorva 20 आती है और rosuva जो है वो 10 mg आती है. At the same time, counsel about lifestyle modification, dietary recommendation, and sometimes ऐसा होता है कि LDL target achieve नहीं हो रहा हमसे, हमने atorvastatin भी start करा दी है, ezetimibe भी start करा दी है, then the patient should be referred to health professional with expertise in metabolic and lipid management. If triglyceride is more than 200, consider fibrates. If HDL is less than 40 milligram, consider omega-3 fatty acids. ये जो है, this is very important, monitoring lipids, because we have seen many times कि patient को एक साल पहले atorvastatin start कराई है और वो अभी तक चल रही है, और उसमें ज़ाहिर है follow-ups का भी थोड़ा सा अमल दखल होता है कि patient lost to follow-up हो जाती है. जब भी statin start कराएं, please check fasting lipid 4 to 12 weeks after initiating statin, और फिर डोज को एडजस्ट करना होता है, और उसके बाद फिर आप 3 to 12 months कभी भी इस ड्यूरेशन में आप इसको रिपीट कराएं और अकॉर्डिंगली जो है वो डोज एडजस्ट करें या मेडिसिन स्टॉप कराएं. लेकिन आपको इसको दोबारा से रिपीट करना है, क्योंकि एक तो उसके साइड इफेक्ट्स, और दूसरा आपको पता है सोशियो इकोनॉमिकल बर्डन पेशेंट पे जो है वो कंटिन्यूएशन ऑफ मेडिकेशन के साथ बहुत ज्यादा आता है. दिस इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. लाइफस्टाइल मॉडिफिकेशन, जैसे कि मेडिटेरेनियन डाइट है, plant based food, fish consumption, olive oil, nut supplementation. ऐसे जो नट सप्लीमेंटेशन है उसके मेरे पास पेशेंट्स आते हैं, वो बेचारे हमेशा जब मुझे बताते हैं बोलते हैं हम फिश कैसे खाएं, हम बाकी चीजें कैसे खाएं. लेकिन ये कि ज्यादा जो प्लांट बेस्ड चीजें हैं, दालें वगैरह है, फिश है, फ्रूट्स हैं, जो चीजें अवेलेबल हैं एटलीस्ट वो, और लो सॉल्ट डाइट, ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, विद मॉडरेट इंटेंसिटी एरोबिक एक्टिविटी एंड स्मोकिंग सेसेशन. Now this is very important that because we have a lot of ICAD, and ICAD is a very common cause of stroke worldwide and with a high rate of recurrence as well. And if there is stenosis of more than 70%, then there is chance of 18% stroke recurrence in 1 year. Or Pakistan maybe it is very a common cause of stroke. If there is a stroke, if there is TIA and there is ICAD of 50 to 99%, then you have to maintain BP less than 140. You have to use high statin therapy, intensity statin therapy, and the target LDL should be less than 70. You have to counsel for physical activity 3 to 5 times per week, and then antithrombotic. Now this is actually the important. Which antithrombotic should be started for the prevention of the stroke recurrence in ICAD. So there are different trials which compared antithrombotic, one and a single and double antithrombotic like PASSAGE, Samples, CLEAR, CHANCE, TAILS, TOAST 1, 2, and many more. So it is clear if this is because of atherosclerosis, and patient has stroke because of ICAD, then we have to use antiplatelet. There is no role of anticoagulation in this in these patients. Now the question is whether should we start one antiplatelet or double antiplatelet. And if double antiplatelet, then which antiplatelet? And what should be the duration of those antiplatelet? So हम aspirin use कर सकते हैं, and then we can add clopidogrel 75 mg to aspirin for 90 days, not more than 90 days. And the second, up third, हमारे पास आई है ticagrelor 90 mg twice a day to aspirin for 30 days. It might be considered to reduce the recurrence of stroke. And cilostazol हमारे पास available है. We can use it. We can add it to aspirin or clopid for the reduction of the stroke, recurrence of stroke. इस पे अगर आप cilostazol पे बात करें तो catharsis trial showed us that the combination of cilostazol and aspirin is superior to aspirin, but it has no impact on ICAS progression. और TOS 1, TOS 2 trial ये बताता है कि cilostazol और aspirin is as safe and effective as clopid and aspirin. तो आप देखें, चाहे अगर आप पेशेंट को cilostazol एस्पिरिन स्टार्ट कराएं या आप एस्पिरिन और क्लॉपी स्टार्ट कराएं, दोनों की एफिकेसी जो है और सेफ्टी वो एक है. तो आपने फिर इंडिविजुअलाइज करना है पेशेंट को अकॉर्डिंग टू साइड इफेक्ट, कॉस्ट और हम क्या स्टार्ट कराएं. The one thing is clear, there is no role of clopy alone, cilostazol alone, ticagrelor alone, and dipyridamole alone in ICAS stroke. So this thing should be considered. Acha, the second criteria for selecting double antiplatelet over single antiplatelet is NIH-SS scoring. If patient has minor stroke, which is not cardioembolic, and NIH scoring is less than 3, or high risk TIA with ABCD2 scoring more than 4, then you can use double antiplatelet for about 90 days, 21 to 90 days, followed by single antiplatelet. So this is the another criteria for deciding about double and single antiplatelet. There is one situation in which is called medical failure, जो कि बहुत दफा आता है और ये वाला क्वेश्चन बहुत ज़्यादा पोस्ट होता है कि पेशेंट को ब्लड प्रेशर इज वेल कंट्रोल्ड, पेशेंट का डिस्लिपिडीमिया कंट्रोल्ड है, डायबिटीज कंट्रोल्ड है, पेशेंट डबल एंटीप्लेटलेट कर रहा है, अब वो बिल्कुल कंप्लायंट है मेडिकेशंस के साथ, बट स्टिल पेशेंट इज हैविंग स्ट्रोक रिकरेंस. द फ्यू थिंग्स शुड बी कंसीडर्ड इन माइंड. Always check for the stroke mechanism again. There might be something which is missing. Second thing is, there is no role of adding third antiplatelet. There is no role of increasing the dose of aspirin. There is no role of using double antiplatelet for more than 90 days. ये चीजें important है. Even there is no role of angioplasty alone or stent placement to prevent ischemic stroke in the territory of stenotic artery. But this condition is known as medical failure. जब आपने सब कंट्रोल कर लिया and the patient is still having, तो आप क्योंकि मैंने ये देखा है, बहुत दफा देखा है कि डबल एंटीप्लेटलेट पर है, एस्पिरिन क्लॉपी पर है, फिर cilostazol पे भी ऐड कर दिया है, उसका कोई रोल नहीं है. The second most important thing for the secondary prevention is cardioembolic stroke. We know that most of the cardioembolic stroke, they occur in association with atrial flip and flutter, LV thrombus, acute atrial wall-MI, and cardiomyopathy. इसकी थोड़ी सी recommendations जो हैं वो अब जो guidelines पे आई हैं वो उनको मैं बताना चाहूँगी. We know when we talk about atrial flip, the most important thing is to decide whether this is valvular atrial flip or non-valvular atrial flip. Non-valvular atrial flip is when there is mechanical heart valves or when there is moderate and severe mitral stenosis. बाकी जितने भी valvular heart diseases हैं या cardioembolic है वो non-valvular atrial flip में आते हैं. Non-valvular atrial flip में you can use, whether this is paroxysmal, persistent or permanent, you can use both DUAC or vitamin K antagonist warfarin. लेकिन क्योंकि सेफ्टी प्रोफाइल DUAC की ज्यादा है, so you can consider use of DUAC or vitamin K antagonist. This is the scenario जो कि बहुत दफा ऐसा होता है कि पेशेंट को बहुत बड़ा स्ट्रोक है, फुल टेरिटरी MCS स्ट्रोक है और हेमरेजिक कन्वर्जन के चांसेस बहुत ज्यादा हैं. फुल टेरिटरी हो या मोर देन वन टेरिटरी इन्वॉल्व हो या NIH-SS स्कोरिंग इज मोर देन 15, इसको हम कहते हैं कि ये जो है इट्स अ बिग स्ट्रोक. इस extensive damage में should we start anticoagulation at the same time of stroke or can we wait? The answer is we can wait for 14 days, क्योंकि अगर उस टाइम पे आप स्टार्ट कराएंगे तो hemorrhagic conversion और टिश्यू की deterioration की chances बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं. So it's better to wait for 14 days. 14 days तक आप antiplatelets use कर सकते हैं, and then you have to anticoagulate patient. अच्छा, atrial flutter का ये होता है कि because atrial flutter हैं, they are increased risk of developing AF. तो इसलिए उनका जो स्ट्रोक का रिस्क है वो फ्लटर का वो बिल्कुल सिमिलर है AF से. तो उसकी जितनी भी रिकमेंडेशंस हैं वो भी AF जैसी ही है. There are many patients जो कि non-valvular या valvular atrial fib उनको चल रहा है और there is lifelong contraindication for anticoagulation. So what should we do with that patient? The important thing is to consider percutaneous closure of left atrial appendage with watch and device. क्योंकि इसके बाद we have to use anticoagulant for only 45 days. अगर वो 45 days तक टॉलरेट कर सकता है तो हम इसको जो है वो कंसीडर कर सकते हैं. क्योंकि left atrial appendage actually is the most common site of thrombus formation in atrial fib. Then we talk about valvular atrial fib. As I have told you earlier, that whenever there is mitral stenosis, moderate to severe or mechanical heart valves plus atrial fib, this is valvular atrial fib. और बाकी जितनी भी atrial fib हैं, चाहे वो bioprosthetic valves हो, mild MS हो, native aortic pulmonary, tricuspid valvular diseases हो, ये non-valvular कहलाती हैं. Mitral valve prolapse हो, annular calcifications हो, उन सब में ये जो है वो non-valvular कहलाती हैं. So in valvular atrial fib, warfarin is recommended to reduce the risk of stroke recurrence. और should we use aspirin? Aspirin की recommendation सिर्फ warfarin के साथ उस वक्त है अगर patient को एक stroke valve की replacement से पहले भी हुआ है. Then we can consider warfarin plus aspirin combination of two. बाकी जितने भी हैं हमारे पास स्ट्रोक जिसमें एट्रियल फिब नहीं है, सिर्फ जो हार्ट डिजीजेस वैल्वुलर हैं देखिए एको पे हमें मिल जाती हैं. नेटिव एओर्टिक वाल्व्स, नॉन ड्यूमेटिक माइट्रल वाल्व डिजीज, माइट्रल एन्युलर कैल्सिफिकेशन और वाल्व प्रोलैप्स जिसकी में एट्रियल फिब नहीं है एंड देयर इज नो अनदर इंडिकेशन फॉर एंटीकोएगुलेशन. एंटीप्लेटलेट थेरेपी इज रिकमेंडेड. Similarly, bioprosthetic valves हैं. Bioprosthetic valves की recommendation बहुत straightforward है. अगर there is no atrial fib, then use anticoagulation only for 3 to 6 months after the valve replacement. और जाहिर है अगर आपके पास है कोई ऐसी इंडिकेशन जैसे बायोप्रोस्थेटिक वाल्व के साथ एट्रियल फिब है तो फिर आपको एंटीकोएगुलेट करना पड़ेगा पेशेंट को लाइफ लॉन्ग. This is important if we use dabigatran in patient with TIA, stroke and mechanical heart valves, it causes harm. So ये चीज जो है वो गाइडलाइन में आई भी है कि आप डुएक को कोशिश करें कि यूज ना करें. Then there is another thing, बाकी तो हमने चीजें डिस्कस कर ली हैं, that is infective endocarditis. If patient has embolic stroke because of infective endocarditis, you have to start antibiotics according to culture sensitivity. And also consider vegetation resection or surgery if vegetation is mobile and if size is more than 10 mm. So there are other indications as well, like if there is a stroke in TIA in setting of LV thrombus, anti-wall MI, with or without thrombus, mechanical assisted device, cardiomyopathy with thrombus, and LV non-compaction. If there is intracardiac thrombus, then the evidence for the use of DUAC is very limited to isolated case reports and small case series. And so warfarin should be preferred over DUAC in patient with ischemic, non-ischemic, restrictive cardiomyopathy along with ischemic stroke. तो जब भी आपके पास इंट्राकार्डियक थ्रोम्बस आए या आपके पास कार्डियोमायोपैथी विद थ्रोम्बस आए तो आप कोशिश करें कि उसमें जो है वो आप वॉफरिन को यूज करें क्योंकि डुएक का जो एविडेंस है वो बहुत लिमिटेड है. एल्वी थ्रोम्बस की इसकी तो हम बात कर चुके हैं. Then there is aortic arch atherosclerosis. Again, this is extracranial atherosclerosis. We have to use antiplatelet and we have to keep cholesterol less than 70. So antiplatelet is recommended in this case to prevent the recurrence of stroke. Then last में dissection को थोड़ा सा वो करना चाहूंगी कि the most common mechanism of stroke with extracranial dissection is artery to artery embolization from intraluminal thrombus, which is a rationale for using antithrombotic agent to decrease the rate of ischemic stroke. बहुत से पेशेंट में डिसेक्शन हील स्पॉन्टेनियसली, बट इन सम केसेस आर्टीरियल कॉम्प्लिकेशन में भी पेशेंट जा सकता है और इट मे प्रोग्रेस टू फॉर्म सूडो एन्यूरिज्म फॉर्मेशन. So there's CADIS, which is cervical artery dissection in stroke. It is an open label trial, then randomized 250 patients. और उसमें equal number of antiplatelet anticoagulants दिए गए for the next 3 months. और at 1 year follow-up date, there was no difference in primary endpoint of stroke and death between these two groups. So this is important, and this trial supported this, that there is equipoise between antiplatelet and anticoagulant in the first 3 months of the cervical artery dissection. So हम उसको एंटीथ्रोम्बोटिक दे सकते हैं, चॉइस वो एंटीप्लेटलेट भी हो सकते हैं, एंटीकोएगुलेंट्स भी हो सकते हैं, चॉइस शुड बी इंडिविजुअलाइज्ड. और लेकिन अगर पेशेंट एंटीथ्रोम्बोटिक्स पर है और डिसेक्शन के साथ उसको रिकरेंट स्ट्रोक्स हो रहे हैं, then endovascular therapy may be considered to prevent the stroke recurrence. Thank you so much.